South Asia is reeling under what experts say is one of the worst monsoon disasters in decades. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the flood-hit states of Punjab and Himachal Pradesh today as he reviews relief measures. The Punjab is facing one of its worst floods in decades, with three of its major rivers breaking their banks amid incessant rainfall. Hundreds have lost their lives, while unpredictable weather conditions have ravaged farms and upended lives. In neighboring Pakistan, more than 4 million people have been displaced in Punjab province. A forecaster expects the monsoon spell to continue over the next few days. Some 4,100 villages remain inundated as rescue efforts continue. Landslides and floods triggered by the downpours have killed more than 900 people in Pakistan since June. Now, experts say global warming has worsened the scale of the disaster. Pakistan's National Weather Agency says at one point, rainfall this season was 82% higher than a year ago. Despite emitting less than 1% of the world's carbon emissions, Pakistan is considered to be one of the world's most climate vulnerable nations. The World Bank says the country needs more than $340 billion in investment through 2030 to build its defenses against climate change.
Joining us now is Yevgeniy Zhukov, Director General for Climate Change and Sustainable Development at the Asian Development Bank. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Pakistan, it only contributes about 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions every year. It's the fifth most vulnerable country to climate change. India as well, along with many other nations here in Southeast Asia, they're at risk. Can you tell us, what do they have in common? Why is this region such a priority for the ADB?
Well, Pakistan is experiencing a warming rate higher than the global average, leading to greater frequency and intensity of heat waves, which pose severe health risks to urban populations and outdoor laborers. Climate change profoundly impacts Pakistan through unpredictable extreme weather events like devastating floods and droughts and melting glaciers, leading to significant environmental degradation and economic losses. These events, they threaten food security, displacement, and human health, particularly for the most vulnerable populations. And Pakistan, a country with, as you said, with a very low greenhouse emissions, is highly vulnerable to its high dependence to climate-sensitive sectors like agriculture, poverty, and limited resources for adaptations. Some studies indicate that by the year 2030, economic losses can account to about 20% of gross domestic products. Pakistan, of course, is one of the largest borrowers from the Asian Development Bank, consistently among the top 3 to 5 countries. We lend about $2 billion to Pakistan on an annual basis, so it's a very important country for us.
Indeed. If we could just zoom in on Pakistan, as you said, the country is confronting a cascade of climate catastrophes. What is ADB's most critical climate investment priority for Pakistan over the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah. Dealing with the climate change consequences and disaster management is a high priority for ADB operations in Pakistan. In the last 5 years, ADB committed over $3 billion to climate finance in this country. For example, in 2024, we launched what we call a climate and disaster risk resilience enhancement program in amount of $500 million US to strengthen Pakistan's climate adaptation and disaster risk management. This program supports integrated flood risk management, nature-based solutions, and gender-sensitive public climate investments. Some other specific examples include road projects in KP province. This project focuses on improving climate resilience, incorporating climate resilient design, and enhancing road safety. Also, in 2023, we provided the funding for post-disaster reconstruction following severe flooding of 2022, including projects in Sindh province and others to rebuild climate-resilient infrastructure. We are also supporting emergency housing reconstruction in Sindh province to help with recovery and reconstruction after devastating floods of 2022. In the future, we have a number of programs in our plan. For example, we're looking at the Sindh Coastal Resilience Sector Project. This project will support the development of prosperous and resilient coastal region in Pakistan. Also, we're working on what we call Glaciers to Farms, or G2F program, which we launched last year during COP29 in Baku to promote a sustainable water usage and food security in Central Asia, South Caucasus, and Pakistan. So this program aims to mobilize about $3.5 billion for climate finance. A lot of it will be going to Pakistan.
If we could talk about India for a moment, Mr. Zhukov, the ADB and the Green Climate Fund, they recently launched a clean energy financing program in India worth $200 million. What would you say are the major hurdles to making strides in the clean energy sector? Is it just requiring additional financing? Is the human capital in place?
It's not just financial and human capital. Also, government policies should be adjusted further to promote the climate mitigation measures and adoption of renewable energy. In the case of India, there's still a lot of dependence on coal and diesel fuel, so this needs to be addressed.
Okay, Director General, speaking of India, like Pakistan, it faces acute climate risk. It is also one of the largest emitters in Asia. Now, how does ADB strike a balance between supporting their development needs, but at the same time ensure its transition towards low carbon, climate resilient growth?
Yeah. Thank you for this question. I think throughout Asian Pacific, when we look at the issues of climate change and climate finance, we need to make sure that these are consistent with the overall goals of economic development. So we cannot punish the developing countries' growth because they for now rely a lot on this fossil fuel. So we need to find the ways to ensure economic development in these countries while promoting sustainable energy, sustainable renewable energy. In several countries, we are promoting what we call energy transition mechanism, where we, through various financial means, trying to accelerate the retirement of the older polluting power plants, which are fueled by coal and diesel. And in the positive developments, we're also working with the private sector to promote the development of solar and wind power across the Asian Pacific.
In June, India raised concerns about the ADB's financing support to Pakistan. You know, one of their worries is they say there could be a potential misuse of funds. You know, instead of going towards economic climate reforms, that money is being funneled towards military expenditures. What would you say to those critics? How do you ensure the money is going where it's supposed to go?
We apply highest levels of due diligence and best practices to make sure that there is no corruption or undue use of our resources. Both India and Pakistan are important members of the Asian Development Bank, and we take politically neutral positions.
All right. Thank you for your time today, sir. Appreciate your insights. We have been speaking to Yevgeniy Zhukov, Director General for Climate Change and Sustainable Development at the Asian Development Bank.